Everyone coming in, come on in, have a seat. Plenty of room in the front. Good seats in the back are getting taken as far as I can tell. Okay, we're going to get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the IETF 124 Plenary. It's phenomenal to see everyone here in person, and for those of you around the world, thank you for joining us in whatever time zone that you happen to be in. It's we're of course back to Montreal, a great kind of venue we've been to many times and led to very many successful meetings. Before we get started, I quickly want to remind everyone to what you've already agreed to. As condition of participating in an IETF meeting, there's a number of policies and procedures that you see outlined there. And if you want a quick URL to get to them, please do scan that QR code. My name is Roman Danilou, and I'm the IETF chair. And this evening we have a fairly packed agenda. We of course have our various standing items where the different leadership bodies are going to give you updates. At the tail end, we are going to be hearing. We're going to have an open mic, so you have an opportunity to engage with those leadership bodies. In between, we have a couple of key important kind of speakers. First, we're going to hear from our meeting host, from Glenn Dean. Then from the Internet Society, we'll have the Jonathan B. Postel Service Award being awarded. And then we'll also hear, because it's that particular time of year, we'll be hearing from our NomCom as well. And I neglected to mention all our partners. We're of course going to be hearing from the IETF Trust and the IPMC and our upcoming venue for IETF 125. Okay. Of course, it's the obvious reminder here that this meeting has been going very, very successfully, and the success of this meeting is predicated on the work of a lot of different hardworking people that are not directly sitting in the working groups working on the standards themselves. So I would really like to recognize here and thank the Secretariat, the Mideco team, the NOC, the LLC administrative staff, that includes also the tools team, and the hackathon support for pulling together the administrative things we so obviously see into many of the things that we don't see that lead to the seamless meeting. So thank you so much. And so for the first item of business, I would welcome to the stage our meeting host from Comcast and NBC Universal, Glenn Dean. Come on up, please. You have one slide.
Hi, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be able to host this meeting. We hosted the last time the IETF was in Montreal. It was also hosted by NBC Universal and Comcast. We do this because we really, really value the work that the IETF does. It helps every part of our business. We run networks, we create content, which we distribute on networks. This work, this body, you people, enable my company to do what it does. So this is our way of saying thank you and helping give back to the community by sponsoring these meetings. I'm going to keep it real short. That's it. Thank you for do what you do. We appreciate you.
So Glenn, as a token of our appreciation, we wanted to present you to your company this plaque, recognizing your service. There's no photographer this time, so you just shake my hand. And as everyone knows, I have this bad habit to pull away the plaques. No, we'll mail it to you. No, you get to keep this one. That's the real plaque. So next up, I invite the President and CEO of the Internet Society, Sally Wentworth, to present the Jonathan B. Postel Service Award. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. As Roman said, my name is Sally Wentworth, and it's my great honor to be here today as the President and CEO of the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation to present the Jonathan B. Postel Service Award. Let's see. What am I doing wrong?
Sure, no. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. This recognition is named after a person who is well known within this community and who modeled a particular kind of leadership. Through rigorous, steady, and humble service, John Postel always focused on the longer-term health of the internet. Jonathan B. Postel Service Award is presented annually to an individual or organization that has made outstanding and sustained contributions in service to the Internet community. The selection criteria are focused in 3 areas: technical contributions, leadership, and service to the community. The selection committee is composed of former Postel awardees, and this year, the committee decided to present David Clark with the 2025 Jonathan B. Postel Service Award for his major contributions to design and policy for the Internet. Today, we recognize David Clark not only for his technical accomplishments, but also for a lifetime of service to the Internet, as shown by his commitment to research into the societal and policy implications of Internet technology, as well as into the future architecture of the Internet. Through his work, David has helped the community understand how to build systems that work, and also why certain choices matter for the future of an open, globally connected, secure, and trustworthy Internet for everyone. As chief protocol architect for the Internet from 1981 to 1989, when he chaired the Internet Activities Board, he was instrumental in establishing the architectural foundations that continue to serve billions of people worldwide. At an IETF plenary session in 1992, David outlined how decisions are made within the IETF with his famous statement, "We reject kings, presidents, and voting. We believe in rough consensus and running code." That rough consensus and running code part would go on to be one of the cardinal principles laid out in the IETF's mission statement in RFC 3935 in 2004. Over the years, it has become a defining methodology for the Internet standards development process within the IETF, and something that we can all reference as an example of collaboration across the industry. David also has the distinction of having his words on an IETF 83 meeting t-shirt. Some of you will be familiar with that. Unfortunately, David could not be with us today in person, but he kindly recorded a message for this occasion. So please join me in watching his message.
We beg everyone's patience while we work through the technical issue to get this video streamed.
Unfortunately, it sounds like we need to work out the video, so we will bring it back later in the plenary. But maybe one more round of applause for David Clark. Thank you.
So while the team is working on getting the video streamed, I'm going to pivot over and move next to the next part of our agenda to report out on the ISG report and words from the IETF chair. Historically, I report on all sorts of meeting statistics, and this is what we always roughly report. This is the largest meeting. If you're looking at the registration count, this is the largest meeting we've had in over 2.5 years. We have an almost record number of on-site participation and a very high number of remote participants and a very robust kind of hackathon, very much kind of on the high end of the participation. And then also, very much continuing with the trend that we've always seen, about 1/5 of the participants are new to the IETF meeting that have never been before. So if you look to your left, to your right, you are in a group of 5. One of you has probably never been here before, because of course all new participants know it's exciting to come to the plenary. Best thing all week, right? I mean, it's best snacks all week, though, in fairness, right? Best snacks. That's, I guess, all I can promise. The rest is up to you with the mic line. All right. To benchmark again, kind of contextually, the other big kind of trend beyond being kind of record participation for us that it's been in almost 2.5 years is also the proportion of on-site versus remote is in that 60-40 band that we find across the meetings, which is another way of saying that almost half of everyone participating in this meeting is remote, which really kind of pushes to how well our participation process is working in allowing everyone around the world, regardless of whether you're civil society, academia, industry, or kind of government, to come to this meeting and provide your contributions and interventions. Another way to kind of cut the data, where are people kind of coming from, and overwhelmingly the participation at this North America meeting is from North America. The ISG, since the last time we met, has both released a couple of statements and a number of announcements. I'm going to talk a little bit in more detail for 2 of our statements that we had. One of the things I really wanted to point out to make sure everyone benefits from, because the ISG is pretty much committed to continue doing this, we ran a series of the Ask Me Anything kind of sessions on 2 key procedural topics, which is first feeding the pipeline of Ask Me Anything. You want to be an AD, please come talk to us. One of the best ways to find out what that experience is like is to talk to those in that position. The other thing that we're very much have our eye on with our partners on the IAB is onboarding new work. And one of the ways that new work comes into the organization is through a BOF. Pulling off a successful BOF is non-trivial. It takes a lot of different kind of coordination, collaboration that sometimes may not be obvious. So please join us in sessions like we have that will allow us to kind of give you some advice on how to pull it off. Okay. All right, so I can better read the screens I have. Okay, so what I wanted to do now is delve a little bit into the 2 statements that we have, because I'm sensitive to the fact that sometimes when the ISG makes kind of statements and drops it on the IETF list, everyone may not be dropping everything that they're doing and really wondering what was the latest missive in that communication. So I wanted to highlight 2 of the more significant ones that we published. First, we published some things related to how the appeals process runs. Specifically, we wanted to highlight that the appeals process we have is not for reporting non-compliance of legal matters. All of your NOMCOM appointed leadership team on the ISG and the IAB do not adjudicate legal things. We have created a structure called the IETF Administrative LLC, and they are the legal home for the IETF, and that is the right place to be reporting legal matters, especially matters related to non-compliance. The best way to reach them is that alias I have listed there, which is legal@IETF. Two other procedural matters to remind everyone: the appeals process is like any other contribution in the IETF. It's subject to our guidelines for conduct and subject to our anti-harassment policy as well. And then the last thing that statement did, which cannot be easily kind of summarized here in a simple bullet, is that it laid out a number of formatting and content requirements to help better integrate the appeals coming into the standards process. So all the details are listed there. The other statement, this is much more recent and saw a little bit of discussion on the broader IETF mailing list, was related to how derivative works are used. And one of the elements of that statement was around highlighting that non-conformant, non-derivative kind of clauses are inconsistent with IETF policy, and they could lead to disruption in the standards process. And we got some questions. Well, how could that possibly be disruptive? And from the ISG's perspective, we see those clauses as disruptive in three ways. First, they're communicating false representations of what is IETF process, which confuses newcomers and confuses those less familiar with the IETF processes. Second, it increases the cost of participation to everyone in the IETF, because when they see legal blurbs in things where they should not appear, they need, according to IETF process, to go back to their counsel to adjudicate what those legal blobs might be and what the implications are. And that's another cost burden. And really the most worrying element of all of that is that we have real feedback that tells us that this silences risk-averse participants. That's those that don't have the benefit of being able to quickly go to counsel, that have perhaps those deep pockets, and they have in-house corporate kind of counsel that they can easily kind of consult. And as a result, not wanting to face liability or risk, they remain silent and they don't contribute to the standards process, or remain silent on different parts, and that impacts our ability to understand things like consensus or get their valuable perspective on those matters. So this is a little bit of the background of why the ISG linked those, the uses of those non-conformant legal clauses to the standards process. All right. So another topic I wanted to talk about: we regularly report on how many appeals have been reported to the ISG since the last time we met. So I'm here to report we got another 3 appeals, and the ISG responded to all of those appeals. Contextually, you can see the bar chart listed there. We've seen 6 to date here in 2025, and you've seen that 6 appeals of ISG decisions escalated to the IAB. If we look back on a 10-year time frame, I mean, we're seeing record highs. If you pull back 20 years, we're still a little bit below the high water mark set in 2006. So you got to go back real far. I know there are a number of participants that were probably here that long ago that can kind of remember. So contextually, we are in an unusual situation where there's been a lot of feedback. So the ISG has, really kind of been reflecting on all of these appeals coming in. And I think the top line position to really open with is the ISG's deep kind of commitment that the appeals are an important structural element of the standards process, having the ability to come to leadership to really provide feedback that you made the wrong call, please rethink that call, and to kind of accept that feedback is the path that needs to be preserved regardless of whatever clarity or kind of guidance is given. That's really sacrosanct, and we need to make sure that that appeal path stays ready and clear. Having said that, I also recognize that the ISG you probably observed, the ISG has been working a lot of these kind of appeals, and you may have kind of different kind of positions on where the ISG has landed. And so I wanted to really clarify that the ISG has been navigating really a fine line between how do we deal with process adherence, how do we deal with clarity of kind of existing processes, and where are the seams relative to adherence, and then also really the substance of something in there in kind of those claims. And it is not kind of a clear-cut line, and the ISG welcomes kind of feedback on how we've been navigating kind of that. And ultimately, the eye on the prize for us is making sure that the appeals path stays kind of clean. Everyone can always go to leadership kind of on that. But on the flip side, we also intervene when is required to ensure that the standards process is operating kind of as it should, and the working groups can continue doing the great world-changing work that they're doing to make the internet work better for everyone. I don't often get a mic to talk in front of everyone. There are area meetings all the time. The Gen area meeting, even when we have it, is small. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about all the great things happening in the Gen area. I largely want to do that because people come to the IETF focused on their particular area, and that's phenomenal. You are pushing forward in those areas, but everything we do in Gen affects you, regardless of what area we're on, and we would benefit always from your feedback, if your feedback or your awareness on it. So I wanted to highlight 4 things that are happening from the Gen perspective and welcome you to come participate in that process. So first, we have the Mod Pod working group on moderation procedures, which is redefining how moderation will work in the IETF. I congratulate the working group for completing their working group last call, pushing it to me for AD review. So now it's in AD processing, assuming that that feedback is adjudicated. The core deliverable of that working group is going to be going to IETF last call, allowing all of you to provide feedback again on that topic. If you are interested in 2 other big structural mechanisms of here in the IETF when we publish documents, you want to explore how we specify requirements to IANA in our documents, join us in IANA BIS. If you have interest in the standards process itself, documents like 2020-26, or the working group kind of procedures 2418, both of those documents are open. Please come to kind of ProCon and kind of contribute to what will be the new way we do the standards process here in the IETF. And then less visible, although I posted a few times on the IETF list, there are some needs and changes coming for how our intellectual property is managed. So we need to reopen 5378, which talks about our policy guidance and how our IPR is handled with the trust that I'm sure Glenn is going to talk about a little bit later. So if you have interest in updating that particular document, please come to the IPR-W working group. And then last, I wanted to highlight some things that the ISG has been asking of the tools team. We want to increase our transparency into, frankly, what's happening across the areas, what's happening in the ISG. So we continue to be minting new dashboards. So you can watch the work that we are doing on your behalf, or you can watch high level what's happening across the working groups kind of in a roll up kind of fashion. So since the last time we met, 2 new dashboards have been rolled out. And what they do is they give you a single pane of glass view of all the documents in ISG processing instead of giving you just an AD version of that view. And then the other dashboard gives you different counts and roll-ups of the size of the IETF measured by area, measured by working group, measured by kind of ADs, and gives you kind of a sense of what's happening where and the size and scale of that different activity. Okay, so I welcome to the stage, a critical component of what is selected out of the Gen area is our Ombuds team, and I'm delighted to have kind of David kind of talk us through some new information they have for you. David.
Thank you, Roman. Well, thank you, Roman. I'm David Skenazy, and I'm one of the 4 members of the Ombuds team. So on the Ombuds team these days, we have Avri, who is also here today, Siobhan, Sophia, and myself. So the Ombuds team deals in the unfortunate aspect of harassment. So when there are cases that are outside of the realm of the code of conduct, that when it veers into harassment, we are here to help. You can come talk to us either in person, feel free to come talk to us at any point, or via email, or by emailing any of us at any point. I also have a quick report over the last year just to give an update of the community on how we're doing on this front. We've had 8 cases related to email and public mailing lists, 1 case related to in-person behavior, 1 for private virtual interaction, 2 requests for advice, which, by the way, if you're not sure something is harassment, don't hesitate to come talk to us. We're happy to provide advice. And we've had 2 appeals of an Ombuds team decision. And given the confidentiality of what we do, when you talk to us, we keep it confidential. I can't give you any more information, but you can also trust that if you ever have a concern, we will keep it completely confidential. All right, back to you, Owen.
Thank you, David, and I want to thank the Ombuds team for producing that transparency report. I think it's really critical for us to get at least a minimum sense that we can, given the confidentiality requirements of that team, so you can see how hard they're working for us how hard they're working in the community. So I want to invite to the stage Allison Mankin, who has been who recently stepped down from the Ombuds team, but served for almost 9 years from its inception. She's been a foundational kind of element to define how we run as an ombuds team. And as you just saw David talk just a little bit about the stats of just last year of all the work they're doing behind the scenes, this is really a tireless job of pure service. By definition, no one can know what they did. No one can know how they transformed the community. And so Allison was doing that thankless job for 9 years, and you really got us bootstrapped from the very, very beginning. Come on up, Allison. You bootstrapped us. You bootstrapped us from the beginning, and your commitment and tireless service to making sure that the IETF is a place where we can get work done. We can't say thank you kind of enough. And the Ombuds team and really everything we do to make sure the culture of the IETF is so critical to make sure to enable us to get the technical work done. If we want people to come to the organization, this has to be a place where they want to do that work, and you have been part of helping make sure that's a place to get done. And that is the foundation which makes everything possible here in the internet and kind of transforms that. I want to thank you on behalf of the community for your long, long years of service.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Roman.
Get a box for me. I never play it correctly. Everyone knows the joke. I can't just.
I just want to say it wasn't a pleasure, but it was. I think it really made a difference to have the Ombuds team. So thanks to those who pushed us to do this. I really appreciate that we did it.
Thank you. Okay. So I just wanted to call out another set. I want to have another set of kind of thank you. Your ISG is working on your behalf, really kind of during the meetings and around the course of the entire year. We thank the people, the sponsors. We thank the people that pull off the meetings. But I really want to recognize that the ability of your ADs to kind of engage in the way they've done, the level of commitment they're bringing in terms of their FTE each and every week with the telechat, formal, informal, the BOF reviews, the document reviews, all of the new work start is only possible because, frankly, almost all of them have some entity backing them and paying for their time. And so I want to recognize all of those different organizations that you see there that pay for the ISG to be able to do the work on your behalf. So that is almost the end of my, that's almost the end of kind of my slot. So that's the end of my prepare thing. One other thing I wanted to add, which was really kind of a pop-up, and I want to apologize on behalf of the ISG to the community. It turns out in August, we made a change to the data tracker, which was disruptive to a certain number of kind of working groups. It changed how they were kind of processing, and we kind of shouldn't have done that. So on an operational sense, sorry we were disruptive. But I think the bigger thing I want to apologize for is not so much that it's the operational disruption. I think everyone kind of understands how tools rollouts without explanations happen. What we should have done is, of course, engage with the community on the underlying requirements and the primary kind of users of that. And that should have been the critical driver of how we put some of those components in the data tracker related to the automated kind of notices. So, operational rollout, but the first principle should have been we should really engage with the end user kind of stakeholders, the working group chairs, and all the delegates that make things possible for those working groups. So sorry about that. We'll do a better job. I'm coming up to speed exactly how we pulled everything off. I mean, there were a couple moving parts. So after the meeting, the ISG is going to kind of think through about what it is that we need to do in terms of what we have in production and kind of next steps. So we'll get back to you kind of real quick on that. I don't have anything kind of prepared. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. Okay, Tommy, I know you're waiting, but we're going to, if I could kind of pause. So I think we have figured out the AV later. All right, so, all right, Tommy, come on up.
All right, thank you, Roman. Hi, everyone. I'm Tommy Pauly. I'm in the IAB chair, so I'll be sharing the report from the IAB, the Internet Architecture Board, with you today. The full report is available on Data Tracker. We emailed that out before the meeting began. I just want to highlight a couple things. So we're in a season of doing a couple workshops. Last month, we had a joint workshop with the W3C looking at age-based restrictions. This is a very interesting and relevant topic. There is a report that is forthcoming. Hopefully, we'll have something out to the community by the end of the year as the initial workshop report. But if you're interested, you can also come to the IAB Open meeting tomorrow, where we're going to have a good chunk of time to discuss how that workshop went. We are also hosting a upcoming virtual workshop in December, looking at IP address geolocation topics. This is something where we've already received the contributions and sent out invitations, but watch this space for seeing how that goes. And we're really looking forward to having that discussion with the community. We also have several appointments going on right now. So there is a current call for nominations for the ISE, Independent Stream Editor position, that are ongoing. The call for nominations ends on Friday, and so if this is something that you are interested in doing, this is the time to speak up. But also, very critically, starting probably next week, we'll be sending out the call for feedback on nominees and what the community would like to see from the ISE. And so this is a call to please provide feedback during that time. We want to hear from all of you. We're also going to be sending out a call for nominations for a IAB appointed position to the ISOC Board of Trustees soon. That should again be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Please do send in nominations for that. Earlier, Roman mentioned appeals, and the IAB being in the appeal chain, we have received 3 appeals since the last meeting we've had, and we have not sent out the responses to these yet, but those responses are forthcoming. So please keep an eye out for those. And that is it from the IAB report. We'll be back up here with the whole IAB later for any questions. And next up, we have Dirk.
Thank you, Tommy. Hello, I'm Dirk Kutscher. I'm the chair of the Internet Research Task Force. The IETF has 16 groups at the moment, and 13 of which are meeting this week. I'm happy to announce that we started a new group called Space RG. So Space RG is about the broader research questions about systems and protocol aspects for circumstellar environments. And they have their first meeting tomorrow afternoon. So if you're interested, please join that meeting. The IETF has 2 academic institutions for raising our research profile, for supporting high quality research, and for bringing new people to this community. So the Applied Networking Research Workshop and the Applied Networking Research Prize. And so we had ANRW, the workshop in summer in Madrid, and we're now starting the planning for the next round. So I'm happy to have Thomas Schmidt and Suresh Krishnan chairing the workshop, and expect the call for papers to come out in December, and looking forward to your submissions. ANRW, the Applied Networking Research Prize. We are awarding this to noteworthy, relevant, impactful papers on applied networking at top-tier conferences in the past year. And then we invite the winners to the IETF to give talks. So this is kindly supported by ISOC, Compass, and NBC Universal. And so this week we had 2 really excellent talks. So one by Jacob Gineson on a formal analysis of SCTP, and one by Saksham Agarwal for his work on host congestion control. And if you haven't seen that, please check out the videos and the papers on the IETF webpage. We are also honored to have Renata Teixeira from Netflix giving a keynote at IETF Open earlier this week on a talk called Low Orbit, High Impact, what we've learned for Netflix streaming over Starlink. So highly interesting. I recommend checking this out. We also have the IETF diversity travel grants that allow us to invite early career researchers from all over the world to participate our meetings. So this time we had 4 people joining from Asia, Africa, South America. And so we are already running the process for IETF 125. And the deadline for applications is at the end of next week. So if you know anybody or want to apply, please keep that in mind. And then finally, our job is also to look for new important topics for the IETF. And we're doing this in different ways. So we have side meetings during this week. And one of the other measures we are doing is we are going to like top-tier conferences to engage with the academics there. One of the things we're doing is we're holding a workshop at the upcoming ACM CONEXT conference in Hong Kong in December on internet working challenges for AI. So if you plan to attend that, please make sure you also attend the workshop. That's it for me. Thank you. And next would be Benno.
So while Benno is coming up, a public service announcement. I noticed there's some folks standing here. I know you want to stay for the whole plenary. There is some prime seating over there that's aisle accessible that you can kind of relax in. Come on up.
Thank you. So, good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon. Yes, I have the honor to get a status update of the NOMCOM work this year. So I'm the chair of the current NOMCOM cycle 25-26. We have 10 voting members and we have the 7 non-voting members. The non-voting members are advisors to the voting members. So typically the liaisons give advice about the positions and the job requirement for the positions to be filled. And as a group, we watch over the process and advise the voting members. The voting members, well, I'm very happy with the current group. They're very enthusiastic, energetic. We started on Sunday morning. We started with interviews on Sunday afternoon. Now it's Wednesday, 3.5 days later. They're still energetic and enthusiastic. We have another day to run for interviews, and Friday we will start a deliberation. So I'm really happy with the group. I want to express that also here in the public. I told them several times in the room, but now you know. Now everybody knows it's a great group of people. What are we doing? The NOMCOM by numbers. So, apologies. So this year we are working to fill 15 positions. So there are the 6 IAB positions to be filled. Of course, the IETF LLC board and IETF Trust, 1 position both. The 6 the 6 areas in the IESG, and this year also the IETF chair. So these are the positions to be filled. I hope it's big enough to see it on the screen. The number of unique nominees is 111, and the number accepted is 41. So it's just over 1/3. So we're a little bit low on accepted nominees for the interviews. We have a good set of nominees, so we're super happy. But we had to extend the deadline, for example, for arts area. At the deadline, we didn't have any accepted nominee. And we extended for 3 weeks, and we have 4 very good candidates. So we're super happy. But for next year, I would ask you in the room, or all people that are nominated for next year, and you're not sure you're up to the job yet, still accept it. Because see it as a job application. The first time can be exciting, but the next time you know how the procedure goes, what's asked for. And you also, as chairs and co-chairs and previous chairs, we're more than happy to mentor, so to help you to get, well, a future IETF leadership position. So please keep that in the back of your mind for next IETF NOMCOM cycle. If you're not sure, do accept the nomination and you will learn what's needed and you can get feedback. Good, we're now over halfway of the interviews. Of course, the NOMCOM work is a lot of work this week about interviews. But that's about half of the work, interviews with the nominees. The other half is your feedback from the community. So you can give feedback via the data tracker. You can send emails to the NOMCOM chair or to the NOMCOM committee, all the group, or talk to a NOMCOM member. So you recognize us to the orange dot, but maybe we should next time also have orange jackets so you can recognize it also in the hallway. I think that was a suggestion this morning. We'll do that. Or an orange hat maybe, or we have a volunteer here to arrange it. I heard we are short in budget for the NOMCOM, so every donation in this kind of is welcome, Warren. But again, so community feedback is really important. In the previous announcement was yesterday the deadline. I said it was a soft deadline. I see a lot of people here, laptop open. The deadline is tonight, so everybody is now behind the laptop. Please fill in, go to the website, fill in the feedback. It's a soft deadline, so you can also give feedback later, but we cannot guarantee we have time to review everything. It's really a lot of work. It's a lot of reading, a lot of evaluation. We run still interviews, and Friday morning we will start with the deliberations. We're positive to finish the deliberations by the end of the day on Friday. If not, we do the remote work in the next 2 weeks after the IETF and send our slate late November, early December to the confirming bodies. So the decisions has to be confirmed, and you can expect the announcements early next year. That's it. Any questions? Please, any questions, send me an email or to the NOMCOM list or find us. And you're always welcome to visit us on the 3rd floor, the NOMCOM room. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
While Glenn is coming up to give a report on the IPMC, I see people flipping and loading up the NOMCOM feedback site. If you would like to quote the stats of how much feedback we have, we can check later in the program here whether we got the necessary feedback, and we can set thresholds, lock doors, to make sure you get what you need. All right.
Hello, I'm Glenn Dean, and I'm here in my role as the chair of the IETF Trust. And I'm going to give away a secret. I think I know why he steals away the plaques, because I've got my plaque down there. I was looking at, Roman, you have a rock star signature. Like it is a beautiful signature that looks like a Hollywood star has it.
My 2nd grade teacher would never be prouder about my penmanship. I practiced really hard. I wish I had it in 2nd grade.
Oh, no, it's beautiful. I wish I had a signature like that. That's an awesome signature. So now we know why he steals them away. He doesn't want anybody else to have it. Anyhow, I'm Glenn Dean, and I am the chair of probably the most boring, if we do our job right, part of the IETF. So this is the report we give at every plenary of what we've been up to since the last plenary. In case you don't know, there are 5 trustees, and they serve as trustees and directors of the Intellectual Property Management Corporation, or we like to call it the IPMC. These are the 5 people that have given their time. They're all volunteers. We're not paid and compensated in any way. We do this because we want to. Since we last met, we have issued 0 new licenses. We have had 0 licensing inquiries and 0 trademark new licenses issued, and 0 legal actions. That's the big important one. You may say this is, why are these 0? Or what are you guys doing? The majority of IETF licensing is automatic. It's done through the TLP, that's on our website, the trust legal provisions, and it's a passive license model that allows the trust to license back to the IETF and its activities the work that we hold, the rights we hold. And so if things are working really well, we don't really have to write a lot of active licenses. And so that's why these numbers are 0. This means that things are working as they should work and by design. So one of the big things we've been working on for the last couple of years is this restructuring. We're changing the legal structure from a Virginia Common Trust, which has been in place since 2005, into a corporation. And there's a lot of reasons for this. If you want to read about them, we have a whole consultation we did in the past and documented why we're doing this. But we're coming to the end of the road, and we're almost done. We can see the end of the day, the achievements. A couple things Roman mentioned. We have a update to RFC 5378. This is a pretty minor update from our perspective. We are essentially saying, don't call it the trust anymore, call it the IETF IPMC. And it's up there. It's in the data tracker under draft Bradner. Jen writes, and it's being discussed on the, I think the work group name is IPR work group, not IP work groups, IPR work group. That we did not catch that typo. And we are also updating the companion document to that. RC 5378 is the inbound rights, and the TLP is the outbound rights. So we're going to do both of them in parallel. And of course, there will be some boilerplate updates. So essentially what you're going to see as participants is that the copyright statement at the top of internet drafts and published RFCs is going to say, no longer the IETF Trust, it's going to say the Intellectual Property Management Corporation. Also part of this exercise requires we hold some assets for the IANA. This was done when the IANA transition was done a few years ago. In practical terms, we hold 3 trademarks and a series of domain names that are part of the IANA architecture and provisioning. To support this, we have been requested by the CCG, which is a group that was created. It's made up of IETF representatives, names, and numbers representatives that advise the trust on handling of the AI assets. And they asked for some recognition directly in the bylaws. So we've got a 60-day period out. We've put comments out for that we're accepting reviews. It will close on December 5th. So you still have a few more weeks to get your comments in about the proposed bylaw amendments. I want to call out, I know that we just had the NOM come up here, but I want to nudge you again for the NOM for a couple of reasons. The trust is pretty small compared to the number of people that applied to the IAB for roles. We had 4 people this time be nominated and accept for the trust. I think we had 5 nominated and 4 accepted. That's for the positions being filled, and the comments are open right now. There'll be another position that's appointed by the ISG that's coming up for renewal later this year, and Roman and team will take care of putting out that notice. They'll do that. But I just want to call it, if you're interested in being on the trust, look for that notice, get your name in there, and come join. I'm stepping down as the trust chair. I've been on the trust for many years, and so this is the opportunity to fix all the mistakes I made. So if you want to come talk to us, we are meeting. We always have office hours here. So this IETF 124, we're on Thursday. That's tomorrow. We're going to be in the McGill room. That's down the hall there from 10:45 to 11:15. And I always say, come visit us. We're lonely. We do intellectual property rights, and so that's not as cool as some of the engineering talks that are going on in the working groups. But please come visit us. We're friendly. We don't have extra cookies, but if you bring us some, we might eat them. So anyhow, and thank you.
All right, Jay, come on up, and Miriam for the IETF Administrative LLC. Again, I will point out, public service now, there is prime aisle seating over there if anyone wants to sit down. I saw some early exits, good for you. Come on down, and Benno, are you tracking the numbers, or are they going up? All right. All right, so we're getting some feedback. Please keep the feedback coming for the NomCom. I mean, again, multitask here.
Well, hello, and from the LLC, welcome to Montreal. As Roman has noted, we have very high participation, both here and online. So this is looking like a very good meeting so far. So first of all, I want to thank our meeting host. We've already had Glenn present, but this is a joint sponsorship by Comcast and NBC Universal. They've been a long-time host. They're a long-time supporter of the IETF. They give sponsor other things as well as the meetings. They're one of the very easy to work with. They have very clear views about what they want to do. They're very simple to get on with. They're a great host. Thank you very much to Comcast and NBC Universal. Also, as Glenn very rarely drinks, he's the cheapest one that we ever take out for dinner. So that's fantastic. Thank you. So also thank you to our gold sponsors. On diversity and inclusion, we have Akamai and Huawei. And on running code, we have Ericsson. Thank you very much. And then down to our bronze sponsors, which means for the observant of you, we don't have any silver sponsors. So we do, of course, have a gap and an upsell opportunity. So anybody interested, please come speak to me about that. So for diversity and inclusion, we have Comcast and ICANN. Sustainability, we have NTT, who only joined recently. Running code, ICANN and CNNIC. Open Internet, DE-NIC, and Nominet. Thank you all to these. And thank you also to our equipment services and connectivity sponsors. Those of you who've heard me give this before know that we get an enormous amount of free equipment, free services, free help, and other things from these people. Many of these people have people here as well at the meeting. So if we have problems with it, we have engineers on site to call upon. We're able to do some extraordinary things as a result of this. So thank you very much to all of these companies. Right, and we of course do have a store where you can buy things. We are always, I always put this out, looking for new product ideas. Roman gave me at least 15 yesterday, so expect hoodies, expect running things, more running things, some other running things, and possibly some running things as well to be in the store at some point. And stickers, that's right, okay. We are also looking at, well, we're going to continue to provide things as you want through the store. Please do let us know. So there are a number of volunteers that support the meeting. Within the code sprint this week, we had, on Saturday, we had this group of people. Within the NOC, we have these people, and within the NOC, of course, these people are supported very strongly by some of them by their employers. So thank you very much to these people for volunteering. And then thank you to the team, Secretariat, Mitako, that's how you pronounce it, excellent, and the NOC. Thank you again very much for the work that you do. And now some slides with faces. This is the IETF LLC staff, largely software developers and things, as you can see. Thank you all very much for your work. We haven't added names to this slide. Apologies for that. This is the RPC. We will be adding slides. We just haven't got together to do something slightly different. But we do have, I think, almost half of the RPC here. We have a desk out in reception. Please come and meet them. Please come and talk to them and see how they're getting on. Thank you very much to them. And then this is the Secretariat as well, a little bit more detail. We've seen the people before, but to help you put a face to a name. And you'll see them wandering around with their uniforms as well, so relatively easy to find. Thank you very much to Secretariat. And then thank you to our global hosts. These are the people who make multi-year commitments to support the IETF. In every case here, just about, we have an individual or a group of individuals within that company who go to battle within their organization to say, yes, we need to basically sponsor the IETF, put a lot of money into the IETF. We don't get a sales booth. We don't get, any flash marketing videos as a result of this. All we get is a bunch of reasonably well-fed engineers, and that's it. So thank you very much to these people. So, IETF 125, Shenzhen, registration is open. We will be showing a video. I'm not entirely sure. It's ready, but it's ready to go. So for those of you that don't know, Shenzhen is a city in mainland China. It's very close to Hong Kong. You can fly directly into Shenzhen, or you can fly into Hong Kong and catch a high-speed train. The train station is actually underneath the venue, so it makes life easy for us. And we look forward to seeing many of you there. So I am, right, on to future locations and venues. So we have Shenzhen ready. We have the host of CN Nick hosting that. We have IETF 126 in Vienna. We're still looking for a meeting host, but we have one company interested. IETF 127 San Francisco coming up. We're also still waiting for hosts, but we have some very good conversations going on there. The others going forward here, we're going to make an effort soon to put out a little bit more information about that. We've always been concerned about giving too much information away about where we're going because it affects the commercial negotiations. We've had that, happen several times. So what we're going to aim to do is give you details of at least the countries we're looking in so that you have some idea about those type of things and try to give more information about that as we go on. So that should be coming at some point soon about that. And we're, as well as negotiating these meetings here, we're also into IETF 122 and 123. So we've got a number of them that are, either quite close or not far off being ready. So there should be some big changes developing this quite soon. Right, over to Miriam.
Thank you. Well, I'm Miriam Kühne. I'm the chair of the LLC board, and I have just a few slides. Is this one? Thank you. Here are all the board members. Most of us are here. You'll see us later on stage. Only George is online, but he's also participating. They can all introduce themselves later in person. We always show this because we do have monthly board meetings and they are open to observers, at least the bulk of the meeting, the public part of the meeting. We also have board only sessions, but these meetings are open to observers. You can join us. The dates and the agendas are published on the website and also usually sent out by email to the announcement lists. Here is a slide on our financial status at this point in time. I'm not going to go into details there. You can find all this online. Also, including the August financial statements are published and approved on the website. There is even some more information here on the slide. I'm also not going to go through this in detail because it's really a detailed financial information, but this gives some additional explanations to some of the items on the slide before, so you can look at that in your spare time. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And our treasurer is also here, and our financial officer, so they can all give you more information in the hallways if you're interested. This is a list that we usually show of what we're currently working on. Fundraising is usually always on top because that's a reoccurring item for us on the board, but of course also in the LLC and the Secretariat, we're working together to find new sponsors. And we've reviewed our strategy a bit, to be more flexible and allow sponsors to contribute to the buckets that they feel most comfortable with, like the endowment or operational or meetings, like Jay has just shown the hosts, for instance. We've also reviewed our investment strategy and streamlined that a bit, so that is ongoing work. We've also looked at our communications, and as you know, we publish the minutes and agendas and decisions online. We're also trying to be a bit more formal about like what kind of resolutions and decisions we make, how we make decisions. We've looked at possibly also publishing kind of statements similar to what the IAB statements are, and not kind of formal statements, but something that you could maybe refer to if necessary, if the LLC comes out with them or, official statement. It's probably not going to happen very often, but something we are considering. There's currently a consultation out on the proposed meeting fees, future meeting fees that Jay has sent out on the list. I believe the deadline is mid-November, 14th of November, I think. You can still give us feedback on the proposed numbers in that email. And we've also submitted some comments for the changes that the trust has published on their changed bylaws. And there was also a meeting, some of us have participated in a meeting with the trust earlier this week to go through those comments. And the Secretariat contract is coming up, and so we're looking into that. That's currently on our plate, and it's pretty much all I have to share here with you. Of course, we are there to answer any questions later on the agenda, just here so you know how to find us. There's some email lists, you can find us as a board, or also, our executive director. And then there are some URLs with various information like financial statements, the minutes, and so forth, and our policies. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Right, now we have a short video about IETF 125 Shenzhen to show you.
Welcome to Shenzhen.
Always Shenzhen is kind of the pilot to try new things and to implement new plans, new ideas. Shenzhen is really focusing on the level playing field.
Hello, how are you?
Right, thank you. Hope to see many of you there.
So with the profoundest of apologies, I invite back to the stage my partner in so many things, Sally Wentworth, ISOC's CEO, and of course, the Internet Society is a great partner to the IETF. Again, profound apologies for the technical difficulties we had in presenting the Postel Award. So can we get the slides back, and then we'll cut over to the video, please? No. I'm so sorry, Sally. Profoundly sorry. Do you not want the slides?
I mean, we could just go back to the video.
Or are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can we, are you ready for the video? Yeah. Could we please cue up the video?
I am absolutely delighted to have received this award, and I'm so sorry I cannot be there in person to talk to people. This week we're on a long-planned vacation. I try to remember the value of vacations. So you see me where I seem to spend most of my time these days, in front of a computer, as if I'm doing a Zoom call. I thought of putting in a fake background, like this, This is the river behind my house, but I just decided to stick with my actual home. I'm not sure what aspects of my work count as service, but I guess I've accumulated some points for service over the 50 years I've been working on the internet. It's mildly disconcerting to realize it's indeed since about 50 years. Since I joined the Internet Working Group and we started to try to reduce the vision that Bob and Vint had to running code and well-formed specifications, and I've done all sorts of things related to the internet since then. I want to take this moment to talk about someone else. This is the John Postel Service Award, and I realize I'm in a shrinking group of people that actually work closely with John. This award is named for John for a very good reason. He epitomized what I consider to be service. He was the first RFC editor, the numbers are for many years. Here's a slide from a 2009 IETF presentation that has a wonderful picture of John from 1995. I'm told that in some Native American cultures, when there was a tribal conclave to discuss some important matter, one question a person might ask was, who speaks for the wolf? Who speaks for that which has no voice? John always spoke for the internet, not some bright, shiny idea he just had. He was always thoughtful, considered, considerate. When there was some decision being deliberated, John would lean back and say, well, in a particular way of saying that, and then after a pause, say something that was thoughtful, clarifying. He had no interest in starting a company or getting rich. Of course, we weren't doing startups back then, but his heart was in the success of the internet. I hope that I too have spoken for the internet when I have had the opportunity. And I'm going to keep doing that for as long as I can. I'm still working at MIT. There are too many things still broken to sit back and do nothing but float on the river. But at the risk of getting a little maudlin, that band of creative, adventurous, risk-taking people who got started in the mid-70s have now aged by 50 years. John died in 1998. Bob Braden, who served as well as an RFC editor, has also died. There are others. These were my friends. And we've lost others, and we need to remember them and speak for them as well as speaking for the internet. There are many stories we should not forget. I am so sorry I am not there.
So once again, thank you for including me today. And it's a real honor to pay tribute to people like David Clark, who's done so much to build and contribute to the internet that we all benefit from and the internet that we're still trying to build for the future. We will have a remote ceremony where David will be available to participate, and we will have a celebration of him in that session. I think it's on November 20th. So once again, thank you and congratulations to David.
Congratulations to David. We pivot now to the next portion of our agenda. It's the first of our open mic sessions. It's the IAB, and Tommy's going to lead us through that.
Please. All right. Hello, everyone. This is the IAB, the Internet Architecture Board. And first, we will quickly go through and introduce everyone. Let's start at this side.
Dirk Kutscher, IETF Chair.
Colin Jennings.
Dhruv Todi.
Suresh Krishnan.
Warren Kamari.
Roman Dinelliu, IETF Chair.
Mia Kulewind.
Mark Nottingham.
Tommy Pauly, IAB Chair.
Janai Iyengar.
Matthew Bocci. Jason Levine Good.
Cheng Wu. Alvaro Rutana.
All right, at this point, we are open for any questions. We're also open for questions tomorrow at the IAB Open. Bob is first.
Bob Moskowitz, as I said on the list earlier, at the end of this week, we have completed 40 years. This completes, by my math, 40 years of the IETF. There are a few people who were here at the onset, and it's amazing they are still with us here active. And so I think we should give recognition to those who got this started and what we've accomplished in the last 40 years. Thank you.
Well said, and we agree.
I think I see Bob here and like Leisha, who's probably been around for like, the whole time. Bob?
Right, St. John's. Tarzan Potter. While we're giving acknowledgement, 2 weeks ago was RIPE 91 in Bucharest, and I was positively surprised to see Mirja there, to see Suresh there, to see Eric Wink there. And they actually went and talked to the operator community and were visible. And that is incredibly important. It was quite well received by the people I've talked to there in the operator community. As far as I know, this came at personal cost to Mirja and Suresh. So I'm not sure what we can do to support this, but if we can find some way to do more of that, that would be really great. And thank you to Mirja, thank you to Suresh, and thank you to Eric Wink. And yeah.
Thank you very much, David. And we do really like this outreach stuff. And thanks for Drew for coordinating and Greg Wood as well. And we do really love talking to the communities, and we are trying to do this like at least in a periodic manner, if not every meeting, but at least try to make this an ongoing thing. And we are tracking it and greatly appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
And I guess one brief point on that, as we were talking about the NOMCOM earlier, and one of the important things for the NOMCOM is what is the composition of the IAB ongoing. And so, as you pointed out, a lot of being able to participate in some of these outreach events is based on people's existing connections to those communities or their own ability to get funding for that. So that's something to think about, that if this is something that you'd like to help with outreach, come and engage with the IAB or potentially stand for it. Elliot.
Thank you, Tommy. As you mentioned in your IAB report, the independent submissions editor position is up. I just wanted to add one comment, which is if anybody is interested in how the position works, what the job is, if you'd like to shadow me for a little bit, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'm around all day tomorrow. Feel free to reach out to me by email. It's lear@lear.ch. Happy to answer any questions that you have if you're at all interested in the role. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. And thank you for your work in the role. And you're also up for nomination, so this is a great time also to give feedback. And thank you so much for all you've done there.
Thank you. And please do provide feedback, good, bad, or otherwise.
All feedback is useful feedback. All right, Rodney, take that how you will.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rodney Taylor, the head of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union and a new participant here, first time in the IETF. And I'm really appreciative, ISOC, for facilitating this, the participation of members from the Caribbean. We have colleagues here from Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, the Eastern Caribbean Telecoms Authority. I noticed there are opportunities to host, and we definitely welcome you in the Caribbean anytime. We have wonderful beaches, of course. More than welcome. In a past life, I was also the chair of the Barbados chapter of the Internet Society, and we hosted the Barbados' first Internet Governance Forum very successfully. In fact, that first meeting, we honored a gentleman by the name of Alan Emptage, who's in the Internet Hall of Fame. We're very proud of that fact because he's from Barbados, a little tiny speck on the globe. You have to zoom way in to find it in the Caribbean. So we're very proud of the fact that Alan Emptage developed the first search engine. We also celebrated 21 years of the Internet Governance Forum, the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum this year in Cuba. It's actually the longest standing Internet Governance Forum globally. It's actually before the UN IGF. And so I wanted to express my appreciation to ISOC, the CEO, and all of the leaders who came and spoke with us today. It's definitely broadened my horizons, and I want to see more Caribbean participation within these spaces, our youth involvement and so on. I'm more involved in the ITU. I'm actually co-facilitator of a working group within ITU for international, there's an international advisory body on cable protection, cable resilience, submarine cable resilience. And of course, 95% of global traffic moves still on submarine cables, and it's important to protect them. And we are looking at geographic diversity in small states and fostering connectivity. So for small islands, it is the economics of connecting submarine cables, which are very expensive. It's not always there, and therefore we have to look at private-public partnerships and so on. But my involvement here has definitely broadened my horizons. Within the Caribbean, there's been a lot of discussion on fair share and OTT issues, and I raised it within our discussions, and I actually was very pleased with the response I got. And I think there's more opportunity for collaboration with ISOC and with IETF, the Caribbean policymakers. So let me express my appreciation to Olaf and all the others who engaged with us today, and it's definitely been very eye-opening for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to highlight that the policymaker program that ISOC helps run and co-locates with the IETF meeting is a great thing. And I think on the IB and all of IETF leadership, we also really appreciate having that cross communication and your ideas and questions because they make our perspective richer as well. So much appreciated. All right, anything else? Going once, going twice. Okay, I think up next is the IESG.
All right. All right, I invite the ISG to continue. Come on up. Benno, how are we doing with the NomCom feedback? Is it getting better? We got more feedback?
Indeed, it does work. And especially feedback on the IETF chair is
wonderful.
You're going up. I don't know why.
Feedback is a gift. Okay, we are going to get started. Let's start with the introductions. Eric, can you get us started?
Eric Klein, Internet Area Director. Gunther van der Velde, Routing. Paul Wouters, Security.
Andy Newton, Art.
Deb Cooley, Security.
Mahmoud Bukader, Opsit.
Mahesh Jethamdani, Op City. Ketan Talaulikar, Routing AD.
Ori Steele, Art AD.
Tommy Pauly, IAB Chair.
Roman Danilio, IETF Chair.
Gori Fairhurst, WIT AD.
Mike Bishop, WIT AD.
Jim Gishon, Routing.
And we started with INTD and with an Eric. So we finish with another INTD and another Eric Vink.
The ISG from Eric to Eric. Okay, the mic line is open. We have individuals queuing up. Jordi, you are first up, please.
Yes, Jordi Palet. While I am addressing this to the ISG because I believe it belongs to the ISG, but otherwise the rest of the bodies are here and they may be able to answer. In 2000, in March 2000, there was a legal agreement between ICANN and the IETF. And in that agreement, it's clear that they should respect our procedures to assign addresses for specific purposes, among other things. However, a couple of weeks ago, more or less, ICANN started a public consultation. And then we also discovered that some time ago, they already assigned it a special IPv4 address, and now they are asking for an IPv6 address. Obviously, this is against a legal agreement, and I want to know what is doing the ISG about that, because I have not seen any comment on that. We had some discussion in 6-man and V6 Ops, but I think we should have a higher level response much quickly than having nothing at the moment.
So, if you don't mind, there was a meeting between the ISG and IANA on Monday. This topic went there, of course, and I sincerely believe that there's no misbehavior or any malice from ICANN. There's simply a lack of knowledge about our own processes. And the plan is, after this week, because I mean, as ISG, we are quite busy this week, is basically to find somebody, maybe you, because you are involved there and you are volunteer, right? You said yes, I said yes. So you are volunteering, basically writing a draft, requesting and assigning now 2 addresses, one v4 and v6, for this purpose, and not the purposes of ICANN, what I say, provisional blocking of domain for testing and so on, but because we can use those addresses not only for the GTLD and the CCTLD, but even for sub.sub.sub.example.org. So it will be much more generic. It will not be linked to ICANN. And then we can go to ICANN and say, hey, please use those addresses. That's the plan.
Okay.
What do you think?
I didn't say I am sure. I mentioned that in some mailing list. I am sure they did not that on bad faith. That's to be clear. But I think that at least they should stop the public consultation, correct the information, because in the web page, even the IPv6 address that was there was wrongly written, and make a public, let's say, we should not have done this, okay? I think it's important that they say we did that by mistake and we are bound to the IETF procedures for these kind of things. But yes, the plan you mentioned, I think is what I was expecting. Thank you.
So thanks for raising that issue. Eric is going to clearly help us with that action item, and we're going to work with our colleagues in the IAB and our ICANN liaison to figure out what it is we need to do in terms of the next course of action. Great, thanks. Stephen.
Hi, Stephen Farrell. So you've received some appeals. I'm not here to quibble with the outcome, because I think mostly the outcomes were good. I am here to ask, and I'm happy to give my opinion now for you guys, what do you think you got wrong in processing those appeals?
Well, Stephen, why don't you tell us what you think we did wrong?
Well, it's not just a joke question.
I don't mean it as a joke. I mean, please, like, you think we did, you got feedback for us about how you're processing. I mean, like I said in kind of the pitch, we've gotten a lot of kind of appeals. There's a lot of things about how some of the appellants were participating in the process. We have engaged on that. We have engaged on providing process clarity where we thought there was ambiguity, both for the appellant and for the broader communities that we're impacting. And we have engaged kind of on the substance of those appeals. I also understand we did multiple rounds on kind of certain topics. There really is a fine line we're trying to kind of the needle we're trying to thread here along making sure we have process adherence, providing the necessary kind of protections for the standards kind of process, and making sure that we're working the substance of the appeals, and the path to the appeals is always open. And like there's a fine line to thread kind of on all those kind of dimensions. So, I think we mostly got it right. I'm sure that we didn't get it completely right. I welcome the feedback to sharpen our approach.
Okay. And do any other ISG members have an answer?
I'd like to add a little.
Mike, please.
So in terms of what we got wrong, I think all of our recent appeal responses were then appealed to the IAB. So we're waiting for the IAB to tell us that. The IAB will tell us what we got wrong or not, and we'll go from there. One thing I think that this process has uncovered for us, though, is some places where we currently operate on norms and tradition as opposed to having things spelled out as explicitly as they might be in the RFCs that define our process. And so I think there are some steps that we probably should consider in terms of formalizing or stepping up the way things are structured. And we note that the ProCon working group already exists. That might require a recharter for it to do more things or a different venue. But I think there is some work to be done here.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to give my opinion. I think one of the things you got wrong is that you didn't focus on the substance up front. You seemed, from my perspective, to focus on the wrapping and the content and the presentation and the arse boxing and causing more and more appeals, which I think seemed, from my perspective, kind of productive. And it's interesting that your reaction is to try and formalize it more, as opposed to one of our other traditions is to try and understand the substance, the meat, and try and deal with that. And if we have to deal with formalism, sure. But formally, the first thing I think should be trying to figure out the substance of what's going on. So that's my feedback.
So I can reply a little bit to that, since I was like one of the main targets here. The problem seemed to have been that there was no way to cause less disruption on the list, because the more words I was using in the appeal for the non-essential parts of what you said, the more voluminous messages came to the list with even more distractions that I was supposed to answer. And so at some point you really have to just put the emergency brake on and go like, well, now we're going to have to be a little bit more formal. Let's get things going so that we can sort of, not deal with all the sidetracks and actually get to the core business. Maybe I should have done I had done the analysis of the core question that was not actually in the appeal, like did the working group chairs make the right decision on the consensus call or not. I should have probably sent it out a little bit sooner, but it's kind of weird to answer an appeal when you're also meanwhile asking that person to fix the appeal to send to you. So it was a bit of a catch-22 situation here.
Okay. And I acknowledge that it's a very difficult set of appeals dealing with a relatively difficult person. So I acknowledge it wasn't easy, but nonetheless, that's my feedback. And I hope you kind of maybe reflect on that and see, did your reaction to the awkward, irritating, annoying, mostly bogus appeal text actually make it worse?
Can I ask you a clarifying question? You say appeals plural?
Yeah.
Do you mean all of the appeals?
I have utterly lost track of all the nonsense.
Yeah, so I mean, we've worked 8 appeals in the last, I don't know, 6-7 months.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean every single appeal.
Oh.
No, I meant the sequence of appeals that you know I'm talking about.
Sure.
So the latest ones.
The whole shebang.
Well, we have to remember them all.
Right.
So.
Right. I'm glad if you do reflect on it, and I hope you don't go down the route of saying we need more formalism, because I don't think that's the right approach.
Well, I mean, I think as Mike kind of mentioned, one of the places where we would benefit tremendously from is community consensus feedback, which is one of the reasons why why 5378 is open. 5378 was open before to address exactly the situation Glenn was talking about, but there's clearly other issues to talk about. So please bring that discussion to make sure the community consensus documents are where they need to be. That's the best guidance we can have. So thank you for that.
And sorry, can one more comment? It seems that part of when there were appeal issues happening, both in content and in process, it seems to be that the people that were sort of clearly in a rough consensus used this process to relitigate the same issue again. And it was actually kind of obvious that they were already in the rough consensus. And sure, I can go formally sort of pointed out in a list, both in numbers and both in topics raised and answered and addressed. But it really felt to me that a few people just trying to go for a second and a third chance for the exact same thing without actually adding new information to the process.
And in terms of the specific work that I was suggesting, I think the most concrete one, if you look at the IESG charter, it is informational. It says that it was written as input with the expectation that the community would write a charter for what they want the IESG to do. And the community never did. That never happened. So we have an informational charter that we've been acting on since then. But yes, I really think there should be a BCP charter that tells us what our job is, as opposed to the informational document that describes what we have been doing. So please, do our job description.
I'm making sure this time. Pete, you're up next.
Hi, it's Pete Resnick. First, to quickly agree with one of Stephen's comments, which is probably getting more formal with appeals like the last few you've dealt with is not the best idea. Coming up with a way to strip out the person's going on and finding some core issues and just saying yes or no is the better approach. But that's not what I got up here for. First, I want to thank Eric for taking the bullets during the working group chair session. I owe him a beer, and the rest of you do too, for not being up in the front. And thank you to Roman for talking about the tools change. One thing that I want you all to take away is, yes, there was a problem with not talking out the tools change with us beforehand. And I've talked to a couple of you about, I understand how these things, when you're sitting on the ISG and there's 15,000 things and, oh, we could just make this tools change and it would make everybody's life easier. That seems easy, and then you affect a bunch of stuff. That's not a great thing. And I appreciate that you have taken that in. The other bit, though, that I think you really need to take seriously is that tools change sort of led to an implied process change. It was not intended, I don't think, but you've got to be very careful about making changes to the tools or making changes even to the way you talk to working groups about different activities and implying that there is a formal piece of process being introduced when the IETF has to come to consensus on process changes. You don't get to make those choices. In this case, it sounded like document adoption was suddenly becoming a real part of the IASG way of looking at documents, and it's not in our processes. And you can have a working group say, the chair assigns a working group editor, and that is now our document with a blank page and no adoption step goes on. And there's a couple of different ways that no real adoption can happen. And if you want to introduce to the community the idea that maybe we should formalize that, great, have that discussion. I don't think it would be a great idea. I know others who think it would be a wonderful idea. But don't change tools or don't say things that will imply that to the community.
You're exactly right, Pete. Like, as we said, we apologize, and we didn't mean to suggest there was a process change with those tooling, and we're going to look into what kind of transpired and figure out kind of some process-wise, minimally got a little more change control about us, how we put our tickets in and how they're ultimately actioned in the tools chain. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, James. James, you're up next.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is James Kunle Olorundare. I'm from Nigeria, okay? And I'm the president of Internet Society Nigerian chapter. This is my first time attending IETF. And I must say that I think I'm really excited, you know, because I studied engineering and this is the kind of thing I really, really want to be involved in. Okay. Yeah. So I observed a couple of things which I feel probably maybe you may be able to answer. However, if that is not within your purview, maybe you may refer me to appropriate person, so to say. So number one, it has to do with the newcomers, session. Yeah, like I said, I have engineering background and I've been involved in a lot of standardization, processes, ITU, ISO, and so on and so forth. And I know that, yeah, you can have a newcomer session, right? And I think it should have been an isolated session in such a way as not to clash with another program, so that at least there will be concentration. All the newcomers will be able to attend without having a divided attention, as in, oh, okay, I want to attend this, and at the same time, I want to attend that other program. That actually happens to me, okay? So I missed part of the, the newcomer session, and I didn't feel too good about that. So I'm just thinking, okay, fine, maybe a solution could be that maybe a newcomer session should be organized in such a way as not to clash with any other program. That is on one hand. Then on the other hand, I was looking at the history of RFC, and I got to know that, okay, it all started around 1969, and the name RFC was adopted. I may be wrong, but that was what I read anyway. It was adopted because there was a need to encourage people to always comment or make suggestion on a particular standard. But I know that RFC actually stands for request for comment. So for me, it doesn't sit well like, okay, this is actually a final document that has been approved as a standard. So I'm like, okay, there should be a name that is more like anybody looking at it will know that, okay, this is actually a standard. Maybe Internet Engineering Standard or something like that, IES. And then for the ones that are still in draft, I think RFC can be maintained. So I'm just thinking, so that at least there will be a clear-cut definition of what is a standard and what is not a standard. But I know that RFC has been adopted, but I'm just saying that I think we can do something about it. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks for the feedback. So I heard two concrete things that I want to respond to. So one about the no clash to the newcomers events. Yeah, thank you. We'll take that in advisement. I think the strongest thing we can do is, I think you're going to get a post-meeting survey, and please provide that. One of the bits of information we collect is what conflicted against what, and that provides us better insight into future scheduling. Please, if it's going to get caught in the minutes here, but please provide that post-meeting survey, and we'll try to adjudicate that in the next scheduling. On the branding issue of whether we need to rename the RFC or create a new series, I honestly don't have a great answer on how to engage on that particular topic. Minting a new series is not something we've ever done before. We've always published in the RFC series. We've created different streams. One thing I might suggest is, if the text in RFC 2026, which explains the different types of RFCs, may really clarify the different purposes they each have and how some of the metadata may make it a little clearer to the outside observer about the disposition of it. The other piece of feedback I might have is, there's definitely some perhaps outside confusion on the brand itself, and we are literally launching a new website of the RFC editor where we're trying to eliminate some of that confusion, better convey what's baked, what's not, what's experimental, what's not, and they're actively collecting feedback. I think you can go to the RFC editor desk all week to talk with them in their future plans. That might be another good place to provide that feedback, because any feedback you have can probably be merged in the next couple of months into what the new launch is. So thank you for those observations. That's very helpful. Thank you.
I think I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just one observation. As far as we are aware, we do not schedule anything against the new participation program items on Sunday. So I'd be really interested to figure out what there was.
I think it might be IEPG.
Yeah, there's a whole number of events. I mean, if you want to identify your conflicts, kind of please do. This is why I think it'd be best to do it through the survey.
I think the hackathon was on that very day.
Yeah, I mean, we have a scheduling constraint. Obviously, we have hundreds of sessions to kind of schedule. So getting a slot against which nothing is scheduled is, yes, that is a hard
sometimes
problem.
those things are recorded, right? So IEPG might be recorded. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, so you should be able to watch the recording afterwards, at least. And the slides are online, right?
Okay. Up next in the mic, Arnaud, please.
Hi, Arnaud Tadei. So I'm going to speak as myself. So I'm speaking here because I feel guilty for not having taken the mic at the last IETF plenary in Madrid. The topic was about Shenzhen. I was shell-shocked by what I heard that day. And I was very happy to see the video. I was happy to see that people clapped for that. But here is the problem. The problem is that we are in a world that is changing dramatically fast, and shit is going to happen faster than we think. When I heard the disgraceful comments about people not willing to come to China for various reasons and various considerations and so on, and some are perfectly legitimate, but the ideology behind it was really bad. Chinese colleagues worked with us since years, if not decades. They are engineers like us. They come here and they contribute. Their companies have to fight sometimes to get budget, to organize themselves, to have internal Chinese competition with their government, and they don't always agree, and it's hard for them. And they come and they contribute and make this place a good place. So I don't understand why suddenly we have to let ideology drive us. That's a Pandora box that is extremely dangerous, and given what's going to happen, if we let this to continue to happen, we're going to have more and more problems. Let me take the counterpoint of that. That's 33 years ago in the US. I love this country. That's the first time in my life that when I go to the US, I fear of what's going to happen. I have to ask myself the question. It's very interesting to see the agenda. When is San Francisco IETF 127? Think about the agenda when this is going to happen. What will happen at that time if shit happens? Should we accept to go to San Francisco? So where is this ending? Should I contest everything that we are dealing to go to country X or country Y because we don't like this or we don't like that? We are a technical body. We should stay as a technical body. So here, I think we should make sure that this Pandora box closes. We should have a dialogue with those people who have a problem. I am from the ITUT SG17 chair. I can tell you techno-diplomacy, I have to do it every single day, and it's not a problem for us. So why is it's a problem here? So my point is that we should be careful about what's happening here, and I will come to China. Hopefully, I will have my budget done. I support you. You should keep doing what you have to do. The Chinese colleagues have put money in us. They are investing. They are sponsoring us. So we should be really careful what we are doing here. Over.
Thanks for your words on that. Sean.
Hey, plus one of that. Sean Turner, I guess I'm a working group chair that seems to get appealed a lot because they, for whatever grand reason. I do want to get up here and thank the ISG for starting ModPod. I think it's something that we definitely need. I want to thank them for picking some excellent chairs. Lisa Dissot and John Peterson, I think, knocked it out of the park. I think the document editors have been doing a really great job. And basically, I think it's been a really great thing, and I'm really happy that we actually did it so we can actually have some good procedures for how to moderate the list. So thanks.
Thanks for the feedback, Sean. And since ModPod was invoked, and I mentioned it's kind of earlier process-wise, that document is under AD review. When the working group adjudicates kind of the feedback I provided them, it's going to go to IETF last call. And again, this is going to be an opportunity for the broader community that may not participate in the working group itself can provide feedback on that document. Great, thanks. Harold.
Harold Alderstrom. Just a warning about procedures. When you're defining procedures because of difficult conditions, you're always fighting the last war. And it's very easy to set up procedures in such a way that they can be used against you. So the informality of the ISG's processes is sometimes very deliberate because it gives us the maneuvering room to fight the next war. So in setting up procedures, be careful not to box yourself in.
Yep. Yep. Noted in consideration. Thanks. Andrew.
Hi, Andrew Campley. Firstly, completely agree with the last point. That whilst it's tempting to go to ever more detailed procedures and processes, if someone's determined to game the system and find loopholes, that will make it easier. So I think vagueness, looseness is a feature, not a bug. I'd stick with the feature, would be my advice. 3 other quick points. So the reason I came up, firstly, it's great to see a combined dispatch session again this time round. I'd urge you to continue to do that. The process stuff, as we've learned to our cost recently, matters. Putting that in a corner somewhere as a gen dispatch session that most people don't go to is a mistake. So whether the community wants to or not, I think you should force us to pay attention to that, please. Also, thank you for doing more outreach and showing up in more places, whether that's the IGF, RIPE, etc. It's really important, and just turning up is well received, and it does project a message that this community wants to engage with others and not sitting alone in a box by itself. And then finally, since you thanked a lot of people we didn't thank, the moderation team. It's a pretty thankless job with only critics. They're not really the censorship team. They're all volunteers, and I think it's amazing that they're prepared to do that. So thank you to them.
100%.
Bob Moskowitz, just putting am I next? Yeah. Just put my 2 cents in. It was a long, long time ago. I still remember when. But I was the IPSec chair and had an appeal, and I was on the IB, so I had to recluse myself on the appeal process. It hasn't changed in these decades. I congratulate you people on how you continue to manage this process, because it's hard. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, I observe that the queue is drained. I'm going to pause while someone's looking for the button. If someone does not have Meet Echo logged in, they can't make their comms work, and you want to make a comment at the mic line, please run to the mic line. Okay, I think that's everything for the ISG. Kind of thank you. And we're going to pivot over to the IETF LLC. Yeah, I should add that.
Hello again. Oh, there's George. I can see you here, and you're also there. Excellent. Well, Miriam Kuhn again, chair of the IETF LLC board. Maybe do quick introductions, starting there on the far left from me. Yes.
Thank you. Shauna Turner, director and treasurer.
Gonzalo Camarillo.
Roman Danilo.
And George.
George Moyhusen.
And we also have Jay Daly there as the executive director of the LLC. Yeah. Any questions? Where's the queue? I don't see anyone. This can't be true. Oh, why don't I see it? No, I don't see it. Uh-oh. Please. Please.
I'm Stuart Cheshire from Apple. I have a question, just asked honestly without any bias, so I hope it doesn't sound that way. Our next venue is in Shenzhen, which is an hour away from Hong Kong University. One of the things that I think is really important for the IETF is to encourage new engineers to get involved, so we're not just a bunch of old greybeards. Do you know what the situation is like for students at Hong Kong University? Can they travel freely to Shenzhen to attend the hackathon or the IETF meeting?
I don't know.
I would turn to Dirk.
So it depends on their nationality and their visa situation, but in general, yes. So, and there's not only Hong Kong University, there's HKUST, the city, and so on. So there are, I think, 4 or 5 good universities, plus the universities in Guangzhou and Shenzhen. So I think they should all be coming, and it should be possible for them, yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Dirk. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Wow, we all want to have an early night. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, board. Thanks, George.
Well, that's it, everyone. So we've done all our open mics. It's been fabulous having you here. Please have a good rest of your evening. You have something in mind that I don't fully understand, and so I want to better understand what you have.